Have you ever found yourself spending hours in bed, staring at the ceiling, unable to find the drive to do anything? It is a common habit to look at this lack of energy and immediately label yourself as lazy. But there is a profound psychological difference between simple laziness and the state of being burnt out. Burnout is a severe condition of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by prolonged, unmanaged stress. Recent data suggests that over 75% of adults in the US have felt the crushing weight of burnout at some point. In a world that demands constant productivity, it is more important than ever to understand what is happening inside your mind. If you feel like you've lost your spark, it might not be a character flaw, but a cry for help from your body. Here are 6 telltale signs that what you're experiencing right now is actually burnout, not laziness. 1. A deep sense of detachment. Do you feel like you are moving through your daily life on autopilot, disconnected from your own emotions? One of the most silent symptoms of burnout is a psychological state known as depersonalization. It often feels like a strange emotional numbness, as if you are watching your own life happen from the sidelines. You no longer feel like the real you, and the things that used to matter now feel distant and hollow. This persistent sense of helplessness is a sign that your mental resources are completely depleted. Laziness is a choice to avoid work, but burnout is an inability to feel connected to the work you do. 2. You have a history of high motivation. Laziness is typically a stable character trait, meaning a lazy person has likely always avoided exerting much effort. However, if you have a history of being self-motivated, ambitious, and high-achieving, laziness isn't suddenly appearing. If you were once the person who excelled and took initiative, but now feel apathetic and drained, you are experiencing a crash. Burnout happens to people who care too much and push too hard for too long. When a high achiever stops moving, it's usually because their internal engine has run out of fuel. 3. You have lost your passion. A clear distinction between being lazy and being burnt out is the history of your passions. A lazy person rarely seeks out intense interests, but a burnt-out person is someone who has lost the spark they once had. Whether it's a hobby, a professional skill, or a creative project, burnout makes it impossible to find joy in them. You might even start to resent the very things that used to bring you excitement and fulfillment. This happens because your mind now associates those passions with the overwork that led to your exhaustion. It's not that you don't care anymore. It's that you have nothing left to give. 4. Increased irritability and mood swings. Do you find yourself snapping at the people you love or getting frustrated over the smallest inconveniences? Many people mistake burnout for a bad attitude, but irritability is a major clinical sign of emotional exhaustion. When your mental bandwidth is at zero, you lose the ability to regulate your emotions and stay calm. Lazy people, by contrast, are often quite relaxed, laid back, and unaffected by the pressure around them. If you are feeling constantly on edge or emotionally out of control, your nervous system is likely overwhelmed. 5. Neglecting basic self-care. One of the most alarming red flags of burnout is when you begin to withdraw socially and neglect your own needs. You might notice significant shifts in your sleeping patterns or a total lack of interest in healthy eating. Simple tasks like grooming, tidying your space, or even taking a shower start to feel like an impossible chore. You spend your free time doing nothing, not because you enjoy the rest, but because you are too exhausted to function. In this state, isolation becomes a defense mechanism, even though it often makes the burnout feel worse. 6. The change happened gradually over time. Burnout doesn't strike like a lightning bolt. It builds up in slow, insidious stages. It begins with mild stress that goes ignored, which turns into chronic stress, and eventually leads to total collapse. There is a honeymoon phase where you push yourself, followed by a slow decline in optimism and performance. By the time you reach the final stage, the physical and mental fatigue have become a habitual part of your life. Laziness doesn't have stages, it is a consistent state of being. Burnout is a transformation that occurs when your body finally says no more, after months or years of saying yes. Conclusion. Recognizing the signs of burnout early is the only way to begin the journey toward recovery. It is time to stop the self-criticism and realize that you aren't lazy, you are exhausted. Healing requires more than just a weekend of sleep. It requires a change in how you treat your mental health. If you recognize these signs in yourself, consider speaking to a professional or setting boundaries in your life. You deserve to find your passion and your energy again. And that starts with self-compassion. If this video helped you understand yourself better, please share it with someone who might be struggling in silence. Thank you for joining us, and remember to take care of your mind.